Good afternoon, students. For today's second session of SAP, we will start in a minute. We have a Nagra sir with us for this session. Sir, you can continue with your class.
Thank you, Kunal. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So today morning, we saw what we spoke about the AR, AP, and different concepts constituting the construction of your master data. What is the different things that you need to provide as a consultant? Okay, but for the end users, you need not have to create any kind of an account group or your reconciliation account or even your vendor account groups, because this is all the job of a consultant. Clear? So so how does the end user know what he needs to? Suppose he gets a requirement to create a master data, vendor master data. Okay, and it is quite common. The end users may get a request to create the master data. And I also told you, it is not that all the requests will be honored. No, it is not so. Once any request for addition of data into the master records is concerned, it goes through a process of approval from the master data management team. Only and only when this team scrutinizes the individual master records and gives a go ahead to the consultant or to the end user, only and only then the respective master data will be created. Clear? Now, so we saw so many concepts. We saw the concept of reconciliation account, and we also saw how this is connected to your vendor accounts. So we saw at one point when we extracted the vendor information, you saw this information was talking to the reconciliation account. You can see the same thing in your customer also. Clear? Now, so we also saw the concept of raising your purchase invoices and also making a payment to the vendors. Clear? Now, if you had seen the SAP system, I need to relog in. Just give me a moment. Okay, now we will first take the balances of the vendor. So you know where to extract the vendor balances. I'll extract both your open items as well as your cleared items. So I think now you should be in a position to understand what is an open item and what is a cleared item. Open item are those invoices which are yet to be paid, and cleared items are those invoices for which the payment has already been made as far as the vendor is concerned. So I have an open invoice to the extent of 85,550 rupees. Clear? Now, I will route this payment through a bank. Okay, so when you saw the outgoing payment, you could also see there was an other methodology of making payment to the vendors. F-58. We have already seen F-53. Simple posting, simple payment to the vendor. Now we will see F-58. Now, as you can see, there is already some data which is taken. There is a payment method. Of course, you understand what is a company code. Now you see that there is a something called as your payment method. So normally, what is a payment method? How would you normally release payments to your vendors? Now, in our case, we are assuming that we are making payments through checks. OK, now, so if you go to the drop down help, you can see that there are so many payment methods. So I have selected the check method of payment. And I am paying through my business bank ICICI. How this business bank is constructed, I will discuss about this little later. It is a concept called as your house bank. So what is a house bank? A house bank is your bank master. And your account ID. What is an account ID? I will explain when I take up this particular. I don't think this is addressed to in your course, but anyway, I will be discussing about house banks also because there is a concept called as your automatic payment program. OK, so for that, this is a very important concept. And will the end user be aware of this? No doubt he will be aware of what bank he has to do it. He has to release the payment. Now, who's responsible for the creation of this master data? Obviously, your consultant. So apart from knowing from which bank the payment has to be released, the end user need not know the methodology of creating this master data. I don't think the concept of creation of this master data is there in your course content, but anyway, you have something called as your account ID. Just hold on. OK, I will explain when I show you the house bank and your check lot now. I will also tell you what this is. Now, please note that I am releasing the payment through ICICI check. Clear? And I am routing it through a printer. Normally, your LP01 refers to a system printer in the sense it is a fictitious creation. And normally in your live scenario, you are supposed to connect this to your whatever printer you have got, HP, whatever. So once when you get into your F-58, can you see how different the screen is? OK, it will ask you for this house bank details. That is the only difference between your F-53 and your F-58. Clear? Now enter payments. Can you see this? Enter payments on the center of the screen, top. Click on this. So what was the amount? 85,550 rupees. I'm going to release the check for the whole amount. Okay. The vendor is 6385. Correct. Can you see it has automatically taken up the KZ or the KZ document type? Go to process open items. I just hope the amount is correct. Let me just check. Process open items. 85,550. So the amount is balancing. I have nothing to do. So we have already seen the partial payment. So I don't have to go through it again. And I will simply save the data. I'll simply post the data. Now, can you see this? Actually, this message was getting displayed on this black line bottom of the screen. Now you see it is reflecting in some part of the SAP screen itself. Now see the process. I click on enter. Now see there is still some process. So what is happening? A check is getting generated. A check gets generated. How do I see this check? There is a spool. There is a concept of spool getting generated within the SAP system. So whatever output you routed through your printer gets into something called as a spool. All right. Now I click anywhere on this line. What is this list one is? You will see everything. Don't worry. So click on this particular icon. The spool number is 3717. You see a check. So there is something, whatever standard, you can see the IDES system. You could hear some people referring to the SAP system as the IDES system. What is the IDES? International Demo Education System. Okay. Now, can you see the generated document number? 1500020 against Measures Blue Limited. Can you see the English? We have settled the items listed below. And please do not imagine a live check. The system has generated. Okay. And please do not connect this to why is the amount not appearing? Why is the signature not appearing? Okay. We are sending you a separate payment advice for document so and so. This is the amount. And the check number is 100022. I will tell you how this originated from. Your check number 100022, how it got generated. Okay. Now, where is, just hold on, just hold on. Measures Blue Limited, okay. Where do you see this account number? I will tell you everything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I will tell you. Now, suppose I want to see the check which I have generated. Maybe tomorrow I want to see the check. How do I see the printout of a check? Or as a matter of fact, any output which I have routed through the printer. How do I pick it up? I pick it up through a transaction SP02. Don't worry about this. Now, what was the spool number? 3717. Can you see this? Now I'll click on this. If I want to see the check, I can click. Can you see the contents? This is the payment advice, and this is we can assume that this is the check. See, the check number has got generated, and with the account number with which you are dealing with your ICICI Bank. So this is the difference between your F-53 and your F-58. You're routing your payments through your bank. Earlier, it was a simple entry, vendor account debit to cash or bank. But here you are generating the payment through the bank. Clear? Now see the balance of your vendor. See, everything has got clear. 85,000. 550 has also got clear. Clear so far? So you could see the differences between your ordinary clearing and your clearing the payment or clearing your liability through a payment through a bank. Clear? So let me see if it has got additional. See, the T code has changed. Don't worry about what is this T code. OK. So it has gone to another GL account, house bank account. So how has it picked up this general ledger account? 113110. I will tell you. OK. Has it picked up the posting keys on its own? 50 and 25. So this is exactly what I said. You need not have to remember the transaction. You don't have to remember the posting keys. You simply have to get into that particular option by navigating, and SAP does things on its own. You do not have to worry. So now did you get a feel about how the check generation happens? The setting behind the screen, I will tell you. You don't have to worry about it. The settings as to what is a house bank and how things are happening behind the screen. Just wait, we will discuss that. All right. Now, Just hold on. I'm having a look at the, because as and when we finish off with the topic, I wanted to finish off with the questions also. See, in F-53, did you have the option of paying it through a bank? You didn't have the option. You didn't have the option in F-53 to route the payments through the bank. Okay. So here in your F-58, that the initial screen itself will ask you through which bank you are making the payment. Let's have a look at F-53. At no place you have the scope for you to enter the bank. Yeah. But whereas in your F-58, you will see now it has already taken up the bank. So whatever payments you're routing through, it happened through the ICICI bank. Clear? Now, who creates this house bank? So we also saw F-58 and later you will see what the APP you saw is the extension of your F-58, your automatic payment program or procedure, whatever you may call it, automatic payment program or procedure. Is your F110, where you are extending the concept of F-58. Now, what did you see happening in F-58? There was one vendor which we could clear the payment. Right? Now, if I have hundreds and hundreds of vendors, and now my GM01, I'm assuming that we are releasing the payments twice in a month, on the 15th and as of on the last day of the month, we are releasing the payments to the vendors. I may be releasing the payments to the vendors. The payment could go on for crores of rupees, and I may be paying hundreds and hundreds of vendors on a month-on-month basis. So do you think that this would be possible for each and every vendor? So as an extension of this F-58, I have a process called the automatic payment program, which is taken care of in F110. This is your transaction code for your APP, automatic payment program. This is an extension. It uses the same concept of house bank, and you saw the general ledger account. You saw the check numbers getting generated. So you saw all these processes, right? Your F110 is nothing but an extension of your F-58, wherein you are automating the process of payments to hundreds and hundreds of vendors in one shot. You execute this program and SAP releases the payment to all these vendors, which it picks up. But for which you need to have the bank master data getting connected to the vendor. Clear? Now, how do I create the bank master? It is a responsibility of the consultant. The end user will be simply given instructions that you need to enter payments only through the ICICI Bank. That is all. How this bank is created is the responsibility of the consultant. Now, where would the consultant go and create this master data? I go out of the end user screen. Financial accounting, AR and AP. Okay, now I'm looking at the house bank, right? Okay, bank accounting. You do not have to put in efforts to remember this. Okay, simply know where it is done, but you don't have to create this. Define house banks. What do I mean by a house bank? It is a business bank. That is it. The bank which is used by the business to carry out its day-to-day functions. Each company code or is represented by a bank ID. Okay, and an account ID. You saw some CA as the account ID, right? I will check. So, but what is a house bank? Is there a definition? I don't see a definition. But in simple English, you can think of a house bank to be your business bank. Meaning, with which bank your business transacts with. Clear? Now, I'll go to the construction of a house bank. I'm not going to create anything new, but I will simply tell you how I created ICICI Bank. Clear? Execute. The company code is GM01. I enter. Can you see ICICI Bank is the house bank for the company code GM01? This is the bank key. What is a bank key? It is a bank identifier. Let us see the definition. F1. Under which data you define a bank key? Normally you manage a bank number. Okay, probably. See now, I will tell you. This is your house bank, ICICI. It has got some identifier in the form of a bank key. You can see the address. Normally, when we transact with the foreign banks, your overseas banks, you have some bank identifier called as a SWIFT code. Normally, it is either your SWIFT code or your bank key. It is not both. Okay, now let us see the explanation for SWIFT code. Let it can answer. Payment transaction, a uniquely identifier. SWIFT stands for Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication. Bank identifier code. This globally used for international payments. Okay. Relevant for your automatic payment code. So this is your local bank identifier. and this is your foreign bank identifier. Okay, now go to bank accounts. You saw some account ID. What is this? This is your current account in ICICI Bank for company code GM01. So did it give you any questions? Now, can I not have multiple accounts in ICICI Bank? I may have my employee's salary account in ICICI Bank. I may be having my customer receipts in my ICICI Bank. But this particular ICICI and the account ID is I'm operating as a current account for my business. So your account ID defines the nature of transaction. You can go through the explanation, not a problem. To this ID together with the ID of the house bank uniquely defines a bank account for which it is being used. Am I using it to root out my employees' salaries? This could be SAL under ICICI. You can do that. This is a bank account number given. Whenever you open an account, you're given your account number, right? Same thing. You enter your account number here. And whenever the house bank, whenever the payments are routed through ICICI Bank through this account ID, the payment gets routed through this GL account number. This is your GL account which you saw. When you saw that entry, you saw this GL account number. Where do you see? I will show it again. I will take up the check from my spool. Okay, that was a document number, right? I can as well go to the document. Can you see this GL account 113110? Is it the same account here? So whenever I operated my payment through a house bank, this particular account ID, this GL account got affected. Clear? So this is how the consultant completes the definition of a house bank. And where did you see the checks? You do not have to remember. That's why I'm simply keeping quiet. Can you see this payment media out here? This is where, and can you see the check management here? Define number ranges for checks. Account ID, CD. When you saw that spool, you saw some number getting generated now. Can you see the check number? Now I'll go to the spool. Can you see this check number? You're aware of the account number, right? You know the place from where the account number got generated. Now you see the check. Somebody has already generated some check for 23. So this is the place where the consultant creates the checks. So normally what happens in your life scenario is you talk to your banker. In my case, I talk to my ICICI bank and get the checkbook. Checkbook will be in the running stationery form. It will not be like your ordinary checkbook. So, and I attach that checkbook, I attach that check stationery to my printer. And whenever this is getting generated, it is printing. Did you see how beautifully the system is organized? Clear? Now, how does SAP understand the language? What is the English that it has to write in case where the payment advices are required? Where do I have a control? Where do I actually root out the printing program? You saw something called as list 1s. Just hold on. Can you see this list 1s? Something here. Where is this found? Where is this flowing from? Okay, now, is this interesting? So you see the job of a consultant. What is the effort that he needs to put in even before he readies the system for the end users to carry out their day-to-day functions. I'm just keeping this, I'm just running through the job of a consultant because in the course content, you may come up with a terminology which is relevant to whatever I'm talking to you now. So you saw something called as automatic payment program. So this is the preparatory process for your APP, automatic payment program. Now, what else does a consultant do? He has to root out through the programs also, right? You saw some English in the check. You saw some English also. How is all this appearing? Dear sir, madam, we have settled the items. And how is this? We are sending out a separate. How is this English appearing? What is governing the screen? Now, the consultant goes here and does all this. So you saw something called as a payment method. Where does he activate the payment method? He activates here. Per the company code, he activates here. See, can you see? For GM01, only the check method of payment is available. If he has to route it through some other thing, like you see the bank transfer, you can generate another thing. Okay, Now you see, you will really appreciate the system now because on the left, you see so many options. Now, for a company as big as your Tatas or your Reliance, what actually happens? You may be dealing with n number of banks. So for all the n number of banks, the consultant needs to understand the requirement of the business and accordingly create so many house banks. If my business is transacting with 10 banks, I need to create the house banks for all the 10 banks. And why do I have to do it? Now, in my case, in GM01, let me say I have exhausted all the funds in my ICICI bank. What do you see as a ranking order here? Double click. You see that the rank order is 1 and your payment method is check and you are paying out in INR currency. Clear? No need for me to explain this. Now suppose GM01 also had to transact with SBI. Let me say my business is also transacting with SBI. So I will also be having one more line with SBI as number 2. Rank order will be number 2. Clear? Now, so what is this rank order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? What does it define? It defines the volume of transactions what I carry out. The maximum number of transactions I carry out through the bank ranked number 1. So why else do I have bank 2, bank 3, bank 4? Maybe for various other transactions. Now, why do I have some concept called as ranking in SAP? The ranking, let us read the help of SAP. Whether payment can be made from a particular bank. What do I mean by that? The system checks for the amount available within the ICICI bank, and if the payment can be made through the ICICI bank, it makes. Else, once the funds get exhausted in ICICI, it moves to the next bank. It moves to the bank with the rank order 2 and starts releasing the payments from that. So that why is the system, why is such a kind of a system provided? It is because the payment is a very, very critical activity in SAP, and at no point in time, the payment should stop. The vendors have to get paid, right? Else they will stop supplying the raw materials. Did you understand the concept of ranking order? It simply is there to identify next from which bank should I release the payment. And how is, see the bank accounts also you can see. Now, how do I see or how do I check whether the amount is available from in this particular bank? Go to available amounts. Clear? So the amount is, what is the logic behind setting up this amount? It is through experience and your funds flow and your cash flow. So expecting some payments from your customers, and month on month, you expect some amount to be released to your vendors. So this is how you ensure that this particular balance is available in the bank. Clear? Now, I wanted to show you something else. Just hold on. Payment method. So now, if I have to check the properties of this check methodology of payment, double click. Don't bother about this. Can you see some SAP script? These are all the standards. So for your English to appear, okay, you saw some English being written on the check, right? Where is this coming up from? It is coming up from payment advice control. You can see that there'll be another program. I will show you some other programs. Just hold on. So I pick up in India these many payment methodologies are available, out of which for my company code I have picked up check. Double click. Can you see that list 1 is here? So can you see the program? Payment medium program RFFOUS_C. So these are all the programs which are responsible for driving the check generation. Now, is it, since this is pertaining to check, okay, is it the same for, let us say, cash payment, or maybe say, I'll pick up something. I'll pick up Germany. I'll go to the or the there you can see a lot of standards. Let me pick up, let us say E. Or maybe wire transfer or something, is it there? Can you see the program has changed based on the payment method? Payment method is O. Your program also changes. So what I wanted to show you is each and every payment methodology involves different set of programs driving it. Clear? It is not the same for, you may have electronic transfer, you may have some other wire transfer, whatever. Okay, so for each and every, and please make a note, this is as far as the standard is concerned. You need to sit with your ABAP team and give them the format. They will change the program accordingly, and those are the programs which you should come and assign here. Clear? It is not the same standard program. Okay. So based on the program written for your purpose, you need to assign, the consultant comes and assigns that program in this place based on what is the payment method. Clear? So as you can see, even before we talk about subjects like your automatic payment program, did you see the effort of the consultant behind the screen? So these are all the things which the consultant would have done for the end user to work. Clear so far? Now we saw F-53, we saw F-58. Now, what is your automatic payment program? It is a program, it is a scheduled program, scheduled on specific dates based on when your company code would release the payments to the vendors. You do not pay your vendors on a day-to-day basis. I'm talking about the major vendors where you are buying raw materials or some other thing very much required for your business. All right. So how do you automate that process? So we have seen the a small portion of your F110. Now what is F110? Automatic payment program. Where do you see this? Or where does the end user see this option? Accounting, financial accounting, payables, periodic processing, F110. Can you see? Payments. Double click. You saw the screen. I'll pull out something. So this is the date. Payment proposal has been created. Payments have been posted. I'll pick this up. So once you have successfully carried out the payment, I'm just taking an example of what has already happened. So I give a date. The run date is the date on which I'm executing the payment run. So what is the aim of this particular transaction? I need to make a payment, a bulk payment to maybe say 100 vendors. How do I select? Go to parameters. I select the company code, payment methods. Okay, I can select a range of vendors. It can be 1 to 1000, 1 to 100. So this is where I tell that I need to make a payment for company code 1, company code 2, company code 3. Payment method is C, payment method is A, payment method is B. Yeah, I'm not disturbing this because. All right, now. So this is how I carry on. No problem. Go to additional log. So can you say range of vendors from and to? Here there is only one vendor. But here you see you can also include your range of vendors, what you have entered in your parameters from vendor 1 to vendor 100. Okay. So here you saw the reference to that RFFO OUS underscore C, the check related program. Okay. So somebody has created a variant. Can I see the variant? I can see the variant. See, somebody has created a variant and is routing the payments through SBI. Account ID is S001. Check lot number is 001. Here he is seeing the fictitious printer. You can also mention, do you want the payment summary to be printed? Do you want the payment advisors to be printed? You can also mention. And I say, get out of this and I generate the payment. I first see the proposal. If it is successful, I can understand that it is successful because posting orders, one generated and one completed. So the vendors have already been paid, and that is why you get the successful message. So I see the proposal. Why not responding? Let's just wait. Only one vendor. If n number of vendors they had got paid, you will see the huge list and everything will get converted into the cleared. Clear? Now I can see at the end of the, I can see the proposal. See, it gives you the whole list of the payments. Can you see that? And you can also see a reference to the, where is the reference to the document? See, document number. Where is the document number? Document 10015. So at the end of successful execution of this YF110, a document will be created and it will be displayed in your log. Okay. So how do I enter? I give it, let me say I release a payment on 15th of. So identification, some identifier, GM01 or GM0, GM10 or something. So it says no parameters. So I keep entering the parameters. GM01, payment method is C. Okay, I keep giving this details and I save. And it gets saved. Okay, I'm not going to save this. I'll just take an example of a couple of more payments have been posted. Let me just check this. Propose 6350 GM01. Somebody is trying to use this, no problem. Now do you see how, so that you can see the parameters GM01 he has picked up for, see, n number of vendors. So like this, in F110, you can release a payment for a range of vendors. This is so in F-58, we saw the bank as we saw the payment being routed out through a check. One check was generated for one vendor. But here you can see the generation of n number of checks to n number of vendors to n number of company codes. I can give company code GM02, GM03, GM04, GM05. How many are company codes? Payment methods, and I can also enter the range of vendors. Here. So this is your concept of your automatic payment program. Kunal, can we take a small break of 5 minutes? Kunal? Yeah, students, I think we can take a break for 5 minutes. We will reassemble by 3-7. Now it is 3-2. We'll reassemble by 3-7. In the meantime, please go through. I do not want you to understand this in the sense in a very thorough way. I'm not expecting you to be ready to carry out the automatic payment program or anything like that. But conceptually, how clear are you? Are you in a position to appreciate the features given by SAP? There are still some things more which we'll have to discuss as far as our AP and AR is concerned. We will come back after. We'll meet back by around 3-8. Okay, we'll take a small break for 5 minutes. So we'll reassemble. Now, I saw a few questions in the Q&A section, out of which one question was, can a company have more than one house bank? What is a house bank? Nothing but a business bank. So in your live business scenario, with or without SAP, can the bank not have more than one bank with which it interacts? So SAP should also allow a company code can have more than one house bank. Clear? Now, somebody is asking me to take them through the process of house bank again. I'll do this tomorrow because I'll allow you to get into the mold of the house banks. Try to understand conceptually. Come back to me with more questions tomorrow. So definitely tomorrow I'm going to have a recap of the house banks and your automatic payment program. Don't worry about it at all. Clear? Now, somebody asked me, the payment term, can it be changed for a vendor? Let me just, how can we change the due immediately in vendor? Okay. Now we have come to another topic called as because somebody asked me a question, can we change the payment terms in the invoice? Yes, you can change the payment terms in the invoice. First, let me show that to you. Do I have a let me take up an invoice. Okay, do I have an open invoice? No. Okay. Now let me answer and let me take this question. Can the payment term, can it be changed in the invoice? Document entry FB60. Oh, I need to pre-log in. So let me write down the question in the Excel sheet. Can it be changed in the invoice, in the vendor invoice? Can or can the pay immediately be changed? Okay, this is the question which I'm answering. So this person, maybe he knows SAP, that is why he has asked me this question. Okay, now some payment term change. All right. Now it says it is due immediately. Can I have, let me imagine a scenario where I have agreed upon with Measures Blue Limited that I need some credit limit for this credit time. Okay. So what do I do? I need to change the behavior of this. I need to change this. So what do I do is I go to payment tab. I have still not posted the invoice. Please be very, very careful. Payment. And there is something called as your payment term. And you also see an F4. Payment term is a definition for your credit. Suppose I want to have a 15 days. Suppose I need to meet a condition where if I make a payment within 15 days, I enjoy 5% discount. If I make a payment within 20 days, I enjoy 2% discount, but no discount after 20 days. But I need to make the payment for this invoice within 30 days. Yeah. Now let me pick up something. This I'm picking up something at random. Don't bother. Now, by default, the invoice for a vendor or for a customer becomes due immediately. Immediately you post the invoice, it becomes due. Now, if I want to change that, I'll pick up something. Within 14 days, I enjoy 3% cash discount. Within 20 days, I enjoy 2% cash discount. And within 30 days, the invoice is due. I pick this up. So I'm assigning this particular transaction only with this particular payment term. All other invoices are due immediately. Clear? Now go to the basic data tab. Enter. Now can you see the payment term has changed? This is how you can assign the payment term for an invoice. For a specific invoice. Clear? Now, what if this particular Blue Limited offers me this condition for all of its invoices? Where do I need to do the setting? Now, this is for the invoice. Now I can say, no problem. I can post. SAP will accept. And you also saw the payment due immediately changed to this particular English. Now, if this condition has to be, I'll exit out without saving, but I can as well post, no problem. Now, if I have to make this applicable to Measures Blue Limited, who is my vendor, where do I go and make the change? I go to the master record of Blue Limited, master records, and I want to change. I want to change what? I want to change the payment transactions in the company code data. I want to change. I know that this particular payment term is in the company code data tab or in the company code level of the data. Enter. This you are very well aware. 1,60,000 what it is. Enter. You have the payment terms. Normally, all your vendors or your customers, why are all the invoices due immediately? Because without you being aware of the settings, every vendor and every customer talks about this, gets assigned to this payable due immediately, and this happens. That is why all the invoices, once you save the invoice, it becomes due immediately. You want me to, I'll assign this now. I'll assign this to 0003. Now see the behavior. I have saved I have made changes in the master data. Now I'm going to change. Changes have been made. Now I'll go back to enter the invoice. I'll go out of this, get into the invoice. Now can you see automatically it has picked up. I did not go to the payment tab and change. I didn't do anything. It automatically gets assigned because I have assigned this information at the master data level. Now do you see how the system behaves? So you can see the intelligence of your automatic payment program. Now, what does the system say? For this particular invoice amounting to 55,555 rupees, this condition gets applicable. So if I run the payment, maybe say tomorrow, or maybe say the weekend, I execute this on a Friday midnight. Will this invoice get picked up by the system? It never gets picked up by the system because it has this condition 30 days. See, the system is so intelligent that if I want to make a payment today for this invoice, it doesn't allow. Or it never gets until unless I do something, it doesn't. The system doesn't pick it up. Of course, I can allow the system to do it, but that's a different way. So if this particular vendor is in the payment run to be carried out, let me say today is the 16th. OK, now on the 25th of May, I execute the F110. Will this invoice be picked up? Logically, it simply doesn't get picked up. Now there is an other added feature in this program. Now, within 14 days, I enjoy 3% discount. Let me assume that there is a scenario. When am I executing the payment run? Let me assume that I'm executing this payment run on the 30th of May. Clear? Now, if I want to earn this, if I want to earn this 3% discount, which has been agreed upon GM01 and Measures Blue Limited, how do I ensure that this invoice gets picked up in your 30th payment run? You are executing the payment on the 30th of May or on the 31st of May. Within 14 days, if I deliver, if I make a payment, I earn 3% discount. So like this, let me assume that I have invoices. I have 10 invoices like this, which are not a due, but if I make a payment, I enjoy a good discount. So how do I ensure that the payment program picks this up? So I ensure that I go to F110. Where do I see F110? See how beautifully the system behaves. Let me say I'm executing this on the 31st of May. GM11, something. Parameter GM01, payment method C. So here, the next pay date, I'll include invoices. So what is the significance of 1st June? When am I executing the payment? But what am I asking the system to do? I'm asking the system to consider invoices which falls due on the 1st of June also, so that these invoices, which will just read this next page, definition of a pay date. Cashed or would lose cash discount. Did you understand the significance of that date? So I can do this in my settings. So I can also ask the system to consider invoices which are not due, but I can enjoy discount also. Okay, let me not get deeper into this. Don't worry. This is the significance of your next payday. I can include company codes GM02, GM03. How many other company codes I want? I can enter C. I can enter. So it picks up all the vendors of all these company codes ranging from vendor number 1 to. Now, why do you think the customer is also added here? Why do you think you need to make a payment to your customer? Suppose you have supplied some items to your customer. You have supplied quantity 100, okay, and out of which he returns 10 items because of some quality issue. Maybe there is some small damage or something. So he returns 10 items to you. And he has made the payment for all the 100 quantity. So for the 10 quantity, what you can do is either you can release the payment or you can adjust it in his next invoice, depending on what you understand with your customer. That is exactly the reason as to why customers have also been included in your payment run. Did you see the coverage of this APT, automatic payment program? Did you see how intelligent the system is and how it is programmed? SAP F110V program. See how beautifully this is coded. I wouldn't want to say. Yeah. Now, how do you see a program in SAP? It is not for you to experiment. Since I showed you the program, I will simply explain this or just go through this. SAP F110V. This is how your ABAP program looks like. You saw the program. Okay. So we don't know what is that include and things like that. Sheer technical side, let's forget about it. So how did you find F110, F-58? Interesting? Confusing? Don't worry. It is obviously confusing because just know how it works. Just know how the system is built and what a consultant needs to understand. ABAP is a programming language. ABAP, there's nothing new. ABAP is it's nothing but a programming language in which SAP is coded. If you want the abbreviation of ABAP, your ABAP is Advanced Business Application Programming. Okay. So I think too much of a coverage today. So where does the consultant go and create the payment term? One more point which I just forgot, or maybe actually not required, but no problem. Even if you know about this, surely the job of a consultant, you are nowhere involved. The end users are in no way involved. AR and AP. Can you see maintain terms of payment here? Try to understand what is a payment term from the SAP terminology itself. The rules are stored under a 4-character key. Your 0003, 0001. Okay. Clear? Now, one more thing. You have created a house bank ICICI, no doubt. Now, all your payments, as far as your Measures Blue Limited is concerned, they will have to get routed through ICICI Bank. How does SAP know that it has to carry out the payments for your Measures Blue Limited through ICICI Bank only? You will have to let the system know about it, right? Or else how will poor SAP know through which bank I need to release? Again, master records, FK02, 6385. Select only the company code level of information. Can you see the house bank? So if I want the system to understand this at the master level itself, and for the automatic payment program to pick up the payments of 6385 of Measures Blue Limited, I need to enter the house bank here. Else, how can I expect SAP to understand? Payment methods, I can have check. I can also block the payments from happening to this Measures Blue Limited. Let me assume that I have to block this payment. I'll have to block this particular vendor from getting paid for all the invoices because of some quality issue. So I place a block here. Normally it is free for payment. By default, any vendor can be paid without any restriction. But if at all I want to block this particular vendor, I have the block reasons. Some I can select. So I can block the payments from happening to 6385 at the master level. Now, yeah, if I want only one invoice to be blocked, I'll go back. Now, I wouldn't want to save the data. I want only the invoice, this invoice. Let me assume I want to block this invoice. block individual invoice. Okay, block invoice. Can I block this? So individually at the invoice level, also I can block the payment. Normally it is free for payment. I can block it. Only this particular invoice I can block. Not at all a problem. All other invoices can be paid, but this invoice for some reason I will need to block. You can block. I can also block it at the master level as well as at the invoice level. Also I can block. Not at all a problem. Subject getting more and more interesting. I'm not going to save this, but see, everything can be released at the master level and at the transaction level, or can be blocked at the master level as well as at the transactional level. Everything is possible. Okay. Now, how does the consultant create the payment terms? So you saw that 0003 and all, right? How was it constructed by the consultant? So he took up the information from the end user of the AP or the AR department and created these payment terms. What is a payment term? Simply a discount. That's it. So where is it? Incoming invoices. Business transaction, outgoing payments. Payments. Okay, we have another interesting topic. Okay, done. Can you see the terms of payment here? Execute. Now let us go through what is there inside. From, I've simply double clicked. From where is the discount time considered? I know the condition. Within 14 days, I earn 3% discount. Within 20 days, I earn 2%, but the invoice is due by the end of 30 days. Okay. Now, from when is this 14 days and 20 days calculated? From the posting date. I can alter the behavior of the system by picking up any of these dates. I can ask the system to calculate the due date from the document date itself. Yeah. It can be made applicable to only customer, only to vendor. Whatever. I would not get into all this. Clear? Because it is a job of a consultant. Now, if a consultant needs to create afresh or something new, how would he go about creating? Do I have a GM? I must have constructed something called as GM. GM0. No. So I have not constructed, is it? Okay, not a problem. I'll go to 003 itself. Okay. The consultant would have gone to new entries and created his own payment terms based on the requirement of the customer. So based on the different payment terms, or rather how differently each vendor is, what each vendor has to be, what is a payment term for each kind of vendor or for whatever. The consultant designs so many payment terms. All right. Clear? So this is about your payment terms. So I think we will have to touch advances. Tomorrow we'll touch upon the advances. Made to the vendor, received from the customer. What is this called? We will have a look at it tomorrow. Clear? Okay. All these things, they are very much available to you in your study content. All right. You can open and read it. In the meantime, I think can we spend some time? I will tell you where the topic is. I don't see any new questions. I hope things are being fairly understood, though I would not expect you to have understood in totality, and no problem, no harm. Clear? Now, oh, I'm not even okay. Give me a moment's time. I will log into the study content. multiple currencies to financial statement versions. Okay. All right. Okay. We'll come back to this closing process, which we'll do. AR and AP accounts payable business process. Yes, there we are. See the objective. Let us go through the objective. We have seen how to create a vendor account 6385 Measures Blue Limited. Maintain vendor master record at 3 different levels. We saw how we change the data at our level, company code level. All right. So we added the reconciliation account, the house bank, and blocking for payment terms. So we saw all that. Correct. Learn to make simple vendor account transaction postings. We also saw this. Correct. We also saw how we make a payment to the vendor. To identify how a reconciliation account works in the COA chart of accounts. We also saw that. Run an automatic payment program F110. So we have seen all this. So just keep going through the slides. Okay. I hope now if you go through this specific slides, you will be in a much better position to know the contents. Okay, you can go through the demo and the practice. So how did you see this? Just a moment. Oh, I need to relog in, I guess. Just a moment. I'll go to the vendor invoice entry screen. You see some tree on, tree on, tree off. Now do you see this? Do you see the same screen in your study content also? This is what you see on the left, something called as tree on and tree off. That's it. Clear? You can just go through the demo. Document splitting. Okay, fine. So I need to talk about the tax. So I need to handle these two tomorrow, along with the customer data. Okay. We will have a look at the customer. We will see the concept of document splitting. Let us see. Recurring entry program. Let us have a look at it tomorrow. All right. So this is our plan for tomorrow. Let us see what is there in the outgoing payment. We have seen F-53, F-58, and your F110. Your automatic payment program. We have seen all this. F110. We saw this, right? Remember? APP parameters. You saw me entering the company codes, the vendors, 1 to 9999. So all these things, they formed a part of your. So you saw me enter the run date. You saw me enter some identification, GM11, GM10. Okay. These are all the parameters, and I showed you the proposal run also. Okay. So you saw this posting orders, X generated, X completed. Saw that? You saw the checks also being generated. This is your payment media. That's it. So I hope things were interesting. Yeah. So what is a create? So have you met all these objectives? Perfect, right? So we will talk about the vendor. I mean, we'll talk about the customer tomorrow. So create a customer account, something very, very similar, but the opposite of. Here we are paying money, there we are receiving money. That's it. Clear? Conceptually, it remains the same. Creation of the master data and the translations. Let me see if we have any questions. Please explain APP tomorrow again with a new vendor. See, new vendor. Probably quickly, I'm going to download the course content. Okay. Please explain APP tomorrow again with a new vendor. What can you say? What is ABAP? All right, let me run through that quickly. I'll make a note of it. Actually, it is not required, but since you have asked for it, let me see. Process of F110. It is actually not, because I've already shown it to you. If I have time, let me just do that. Kunal, are you there?
Yes, sir, I'm there, sir.
Okay, Kunal, I don't see any new questions, so I think we can wind up for today.
Just hold on, sir.
Sure, sure.
One question was there. Sir, please explain APP tomorrow again with a new vendor.
I have made a note of it. Where
Oh, okay, sir.
F110 with a new vendor.
One
I
is
have made
there.
a
What is tuning program?
Dunning.
Tuning program.
Just wait, when we take up the customer, we'll take up the Dunning. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Actually, this is not required. F110 with a new vendor, what they have requested, I have already shown them. It is not required, but let us see. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. We can make a note and tomorrow morning we will have that.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Students, for today's we are ending our session of our SFG. The question which was lastly we have noted down. Tomorrow we will discuss it about it and again redo the classes and again then questions will be followed by. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Yes, sir.